Yeah, and coming up, we actually have a really cool match. We were talking about, newer players coming up to the scene and showing everyone what they're made of, and all the player and familiar faces. And we got one of each example in this next match. At first, we have Rob Akershoek from the Netherlands. Right now, he is #1 in the Netherlands in championship points and in all tournaments. He's been winning Premier Challenges. He won the Dutch Open. I think he also won a mid-season showdown. And you must be thinking, Dutch VGC. I know a Dutch VGC player, Andres Escobosa. Where's Andres Escobosa been? Andres Escobosa is right now I would say Rob Akershoek's biggest rival. They've been facing off in every single event in Holland. They faced off in the final. Every single one so far, and every single one Rob has come out victorious. So definitely a huge rivalry there. So Rob Akershoek representing the Netherlands there. But on the right corner we have a familiar face. Actually, it's a face we haven't seen since Italy Nationals. We have Javier Senorena from Spain, one of the greatest players in VGC 2016, really, dominating that tournament with a crazy core of Zernius and Rayquaza. So, someone who's an innovator, really, and a very, very good player himself. He also came top 8 in the Dortmund Regional yet in 2016, but he hadn't made a splash yet in this format yet. But he's 5-0 right now. Both of these players 5-0. So we have a Holland versus Spain match right now.
Actually, Holland versus Spain, or Netherlands versus Spain, this is kind of very unique. You don't always commentate on this kind of match, especially in the UK national
that's true.
regional. So I'm pretty curious because, like you said, this is really like an upper win for Rob here, and I'm pretty curious what's going on Rob here. So. Like we said, see on the left side we're seeing Rob, and on the right side Javier. But Javier, like what is usual for Spain player when they get very high in the tournament, always with the Spain flag.
Yeah, that's very true. They do love to rep that flag there. Rob, I bet, would wear also a Dutch flag if there was one available at the venue. Yeah, Javier actually won the Italy National Championships while wearing a Spain flag as well. So very proudly representing his nation there. But yeah, I'm super excited to see this match. We have someone who's making such a humongous splash in the VGC scene in Rob versus Javier, who made a huge splash last season, and wants to use this tournament, I suppose, to show off to people. I'm not a one-trick pony. I can do way more.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So #1. Netherlands player, like you said before, and maybe #1 Spain player. I'm not sure because we have so much Spain presence here on stream and on the tournament. And like I heard from some people, the Spain player are they worked pretty much together. I'm not sure about every Spain player, but we had kind of similar teams by Alex Gomez and Rio.
Albert Boss, you mean? Or Guillermo Sanavia? Rio Pasa, sorry.
Yeah, Rio Pasa,
yeah.
We had always kind of similar teams. Okay, Rio Pasa and Alex were always kind of friends together. But coming back to the match, we're seeing on the left side from Rob the Snorlax, Tapu Fini, Kartana, Persian in lower form, Arcanine and Mimikyu, and on the right side Garchomp, Porygon 2, Ninetales, Tapu Lele, Arcanine and Muk.
Yeah, well, two really cool teams. I first saw the first thing I saw on Rob's team here was the Snorlax and the Mimikyu, and I thought to myself, this is another Gavin Michaels team. And then I saw the other 4 Pokemon. I was like, wait, no, you turn on that. That's quite interesting, actually. We see the classic core of Arcanine, Tapu Fini, and Kartana, but with newer popular additions like Snorlax and the interesting addition in Persian.
Yeah, and when I look at Rob's team, this looks like a team around Snorlax, because we have the Snorlax, we have the Persian. Persian is also a very used supporting Pokemon with moves like Parting Shot, Fake Out, Snarl also. So you have lots of access to so cool supporting moves. Mimikyu, potential Trick Room setup, depends on the team. Yeah, Katana, Arcanine, and Tapu Fini is the Water, Fire, Grass core, how it's called. And yeah, just for the coverage, and this looks pretty solid. So depends on how he's bringing up his Snorlax.
Yeah, I mean, Javier's got a very solid team himself with 6 very solid mons. But Rob the more I look at his team, at first I looked at it and I was like, what's this? And then the more I looked at it, the more I thought, this is actually extremely clever. Yeah, as you said, it does seem to be a team revolving around the Snorlax with the Mimikyu and the very solid core of the Kartana and the Arcanine and the Feeny.
Yeah. And now we see on the right side for Javier, seeing the Garchomp and Tapu Lele lead, and on Rob's side we're seeing the Mimikyu and Arcanine lead.
Yeah, great leads on these ends. The Arcanine does get off the Intimidate there. The Garchomp is going to have its attack reduced, but with the Tectonia, with the Groundium Z, the Tectonic Rage might be a problem there.
It could be, yeah. But seeing here, Tapu Lele's ability came first, so Tapu Lele is faster than Arcanine. Taking a look at Arcanine HP means he's not so bulky. So maybe we're seeing a Scarf Tapu Lele here, and this is something Rob should be careful.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be that this is a very slow Arcanine, but we do see the Psychic activating at first, and that does a lot of damage. That is probably a Choice Scarf on that Tapu Lele. And we see the Rock Slide. It's enough to KO the Arcanine turn 1. It's going to break that Disguise on the Mimikyu. Already very, very solid turn for Javier. Rob losing the Arcanine turn 1. A bit of a heartbreaker right there. Especially with the Intimidate not really paying off that well so far. And the Mimikyu flinches! Perfect turn 1 for Javier. Perfect turn 1, but a little bit heartbreaking for Rob.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking because people like to forget the Disguise is kind of like Substitute, but it's not like Substitute. So you can't get burned, you can't get poisoned, you can't get flinched, and flinched is the worst thing that can happen. Because I'm pretty sure this was kind of the trick room what was he tried to set up to bring a Snorlax in pose. But now pretty sure about the Tapu Lele being Choice Scarf thanks to the, because its outspeed is even Garchomp. So this is kind of indicator for the Choice Scarf. I'm pretty sure Rob didn't know that because he was just like, let his Arcanine just open on the field. But anyway, seeing another Psychic from Tapu Lele into the Mimikyu shouldn't be enough.
That does not as much damage as I thought it would do. It does about over half. And we do see the Tectonic Rage on the Garchomp, probably into that Tapu Fini just to do a lot of damage to it. But unless we might actually see the double target on the Mimikyu. If we do see a double target, this might, this might be the game over. But we see the yes onto the Mimikyu. Great play. It's gonna knock it out. And what do you think Tapu Fini could do to still, I don't know what Tapu Fini could do. It still hasn't moved yet, so Mimikyu does faint. We might see a Moonblast just to get rid of the... No, but we just see a Muddy Water and an Avoid. Heartbreaking for Rob, but great playing by Proman either way. Yeah,
Javier is playing everything right. He's just taking offensive way, just doing everything right. Rob just have to just try it easily to bring up his own trick room. It's so difficult, but it shouldn't be, because Rock Slide Flinch was really unfortunate of him. But anyway, even if he gets up the Trick Room, Tapu Lele and Garchomp is such a big deal for Snorlax, even with the Super Citrus Berry. Seeing a Psychic into Snorlax and the Tectonic Rage, I don't know if he could stand it even with the Berry.
Yeah, and so far, Javier also is winning that information game. He's 2 Pokemon up, and he hasn't switched any of his Pokemon out yet. But we do see the Arcanine switching out finally, doing a little bit of intimidating that Snorlax, so to reduce its attack down by 1 stage. Do we see a double switch maybe from the Garchomp? No, we just see a simple Rock Slide, fishing for those flinches, definitely. Do we see any flinches at all? This is, a Tapu Fini flinch, but we do see this Snorlax go for the belly drum, but Rob is shaking his head there. He knows that belly drum isn't going to really do quite as much in this match still. We do still see the berry recovery, so maybe there's just an out, but at this point, I think a lot of damage has already been done.
Yeah, horrible to game 1 for Rob, but I'm pretty sure Javier's completely okay by losing Garchomp if Tapu Fini would go for the attack, because switching out Tapu Lele for bringing it in, refresh the terrain, and just being such a huge stretch for every Snorlax.
Yeah, and we do see the Rock Slide again, fishing for some more flinches. That's a huge Flare Blitz onto that Snorlax. That's unfortunate. But we don't see the flinch, and we do see the Muddy Water connects with both Pokemon. Do we see a knockout on the Arcanine? Yes, wow, that's a lot of damage. But the Garchomp takes it with just a slither of health remaining, and we do see the Recycle on the Snorlax. It's going to recover that damage, but wow, Rob's not happy about. I mean, I think it's a decent turn, but the clutch survival, I suppose, from Garchomp is really what's winning it, I suppose, right now.
Yeah, we're seeing very much hacks on the side from Javier, but I don't think that all the flinches and stuff do mind well, because anyway, if Garchomp lives or not, it's kind of settled right now, because the first flinch was the game breaker here, and not bringing up Tailwind now, having the Tapu Lele in the back, losing also the terrain. The only thing Javier has to do is just keep up doubling into the Snorlax, waiting till Tapu Lele comes in, and there's no chance for the Psychic. But no, we're seeing the Protect on Garchomp.
Fair enough, we do see a Garchomp Protect not wanting to get KO'd this turn, and we see a simple Muddy Water would have KO'd the Garchomp, but we do in fact see it connect with the Muck. An accuracy drop here could claw Rob back into the game, but we just see a simple knockoff onto the Snorlax, knocking off that Citrus Berry, and a simple return onto the Muck. It's going to do so much damage. In fact, it's going to KO it, no doubt about that. And all we have in the back is Javier Senorena as a Tapu Lele. So actually, Rob is doing actually quite a good job of coming back into this game.
Yeah, should be quite a good job. But anyway, Tapu Lele, I'm pretty sure Psychic Terrain is up. Should be easy, get the KO on Snorlax. Maybe when you're seeing the Protect on Snorlax, what's kind of rarely to see, but sometimes, maybe we're seeing the Protect from Snorlax and Tapu Fini, Muddy Water, the accuracy drops for Tapu Lele, and he can come back. But I don't see any way Rob can win this either. So we've seen the Psychic from Tapu Lele right into the Snorlax. Should be easy to take.
No, it does take it. And but the Earthquake will probably be enough to finish off the Snorlax. But the Tapu Lele doesn't really want to take too much damage. This could come down to how much damage this Muddy Water could do. If it connects with both targets, and do we see the connections? We do see a double connection. It's enough to KO the Garchomp. How much does it do to Tapu Lele? Doesn't quite knock out the Tapu Lele. Do we see an accuracy drop? We still might see an accuracy drop. No accuracy drop. So, well, there's one thing. One thing is happening. It's going to be a Psychic and a Moonblast. Does the Psychic pick up the KO? And that's what we're going to see right now.
Okay, I'm really confused. Okay, we are seeing the Psychic. Okay.
Takes it, 89 HP, all the way down to 0. And Javier Senorena takes the very first game of this match. Well played by Javier there. This
very
might be
well
a little
played,
bit lucky.
yeah, but I'm kind of sorry, because I thought like Psychic is an easy KO. I really thought, come on, we got a Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf is most likely running the modest nature, having a Psychic up, having the maximum on special attack, having the terrain up. I thought it would be a easy KO.
Yeah, I think Barish was agreeing with you there. He was giving a look to the camera going, oh, wow, that didn't KO.
Okay, now we know Snorlax is a very huge amount of special defense, sure. Because when I'm running Choice Scarf Tapu Lele, it's always making easy over 50%. Easy.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, with the Choice Scarf, maybe it's a sort of a bulky Choice Scarf variant that some people like using. But on the left, we have Rob from Holland, and he's running a team of Snorlax, Tapu Fini, Kartana, Persian, Arcanine, and Mimikyu. While Javier Senorena from Spain is running a team of Garchomp, Porygon 2, Ninetales, Tapu Lele, Arcanine, and Muck. Now that Rob knows that the Tapu Lele is holding the Choice Scarf item, how do you reckon he can adapt from this in this scenario?
Well, the offensive pressure Javier had from Garchomp and Tapu Lele was kind of cool and pretty good. But anyway, he don't have a really answer for the Trick Room. So most likely not having the taunt on Muck or on Tapu Lele. So there's no way he can really stop the Mimikyu Trick Room up here. So I'm kind of curious if you're going, maybe you're seeing again Garchomp, Tapu Lele, and just going for the Dazzling Gleam and Tectonic Rage into Mimikyu, because I'm not sure, we didn't saw the item, didn't we?
On the Garchomp?
Mimikyu.
Oh no, we didn't see the Mimikyu's item, because on the first turn it flinched, and then on the second turn it got double targeted for the KO. So, you know, the Mimikyu still has a bit of an X factor to it. We don't quite know what it does. You can assume maybe a Trick Room, especially if it's partnered with that Snorlax, but that flinch in turn 1 really decided the game quite early, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. But what I'm used to see on a Mimikyu when it's in such an offensive team, some really crazy heads are playing Mimikyu with Sash. So there's, if you're not playing Taunt, 100% getting a Trick Room up, if you're not flinching, of course. But I'm curious if you're going to see the most used item on Mimikyu are just like Focus Sash, like a crazy head, like I said, and we are seeing the Mental Herb. But
yeah. but we didn't see we didn't see any item in the last game, but we see a lead of Arcanine and Mimikyu on Rob's end, while Javier leads with Garchomp and Muck. The Intimidate there is already quite nice already, turn 1.
Yeah, and seeing Javier is well prepared for the Mimikyu lead here, even with the... I'm not sure about the Intimidate, because Mimikyu is kind of bulky, but not enough, because we have probably seen from Javier's hand at least the Rock Slide from Garchomp, and depends on how Javier knows his the Karks for the Mug. If it's Poison Jab or Knockoff about taking the KO, but not talking about that, talking about the Ground Z move here.
Yeah, the Ground Z move, the Tectonic Rage that we've seen so often on being carried on the Garchomp, and we didn't see a Protect on the Rob's side either, so if this Tectonic Rage targets the Arcanine, we might just be seeing a one-hit KO turn 1. The Arcanine goes down turn 1 already, a bit like we saw in the last game. So we do have a free switch into the Snorlax if we do see the Trick Room, unless this Muck does something cheeky, and we do see the Curse in the Trick Room. That's actually quite interesting. Javier knew exactly what Rob was trying to do in the last turn, and now he's cursing up just so that he can underspeed the Snorlax in the next.
Really good, really great play by Javier. Just getting rid of the Arcanine with the Ground Z move and taking advantage from the so obvious Trick Room here with the own Mug, and Mug is now in a really threatening position against Rob, because can just easily knock off the Super Citrus from Snorlax, and Garchomp always a threat, can do like a normal Dragon Claw or Rock Slides. It's just difficult. No, it depends on Mimikyu's other attack. Maybe I've seen it protecting like a Will-O-Wisp or stuff, but I doubted that, honestly.
Well, maybe. I think it's time will only tell. We do see the Belly Drum on the Snorlax. It does still underspeed the Alolan Muck despite the Curse. It does cut its own HP in half and maximizes its attack, eating away on that Figgy Berry, recovering all that health in the Trick Room. And we see a Poison Jab into what I believe is going to be the Snorlax, maybe hoping for a Poison, not quite. And we see the Taunt on Muck, not wanting any sort of... I suppose imprison shenanigans maybe, and we see simple Rock Slide, a little bit of damage on the Snorlax, but most importantly of all, breaking that disguise from Mimikyu.
Yeah, and still kind of surprising, Snorlax is still slower than Muck, even with the -1 speed drop. So I'm honestly with you guys, I'm not sure even how much it speeds that after one curses from Muck if you're running normal speed or minimum speed. So yeah, Rob bringing himself needed to set up the Belly Drum just for getting sure no knockoff is doing too much damage. And even with kind of 60 or 70%, Snorlax is in a very good position because he's able to take the KO on Muck and Garchomp, and even with Muck and +1 defense, it should be enough to get the KO.
Yeah, Snorlax is definitely a huge threat here. Maybe with an Intimidate, it could be a difference here, but we just see the Arcanine, the Muck, sorry, switching out in favor of that Tapu Lele. The Tapu Lele with the Choice Scarf item is not doing quite as much damage as it wants to do in the Trick Room, but we see the Mimikyu actually switch out in favor of the Tapu Fini. That's quite a good switch. If Javier was hoping to get any sort of a Psychic attack out, it would be reduced right now by this Misty Surge ability. And we see the high horsepower onto that, what was the Arcanine, the Muck slot into the Tapu Lele, and it does knock out. No miss there.
Yeah, nice try. Maybe he could stand it because he wasn't sure. But I'm not sure if Javier knew the Kalk, so maybe he was trying to switch in just the Tapu Lele and maybe State survive with 1 or 10 HP. But seeing the Earthquake right now, doing a little bit of damage, but Snorlax is so much a threat. So I'm curious because switching Muck again, Muck is now a little bit fast, but should be still the second slowest Pokemon, or in Trick Room the second fastest Pokemon. But the only way Javier can handle this right now is maybe... No. Rob is in a really leading position because Rob can easily now recycle the Snorlax for just having like more time.
I mean, not only that, it can also recycle through. It can also, pick up any KO it wants, really. So Porygon 2 does come out in favor of that Garchomp. The download ability is going to download the attack boost, depending on what Javier is carrying, might not matter. And we see the protect from the Muck there, and we see the nodding from Rob. He's happy about that, and there you recycle. It's going to bring back that Figgy Berry and recover that. Javier is not happy about that at all. It's not quite going the way Javier wanted. but we see the Muddy Water. It's going to connect with the Porygon 2, but it's not going to do very much damage, especially with the very, very high stats that Porygon 2 does have with the Eviolite Titan.
Yeah, absolutely, and very good play by Rob in the end, using the recycle just because the normal play would be Snorlax going for attack into Muk, Mux goes down, and Garchomp is always setting up the Earthquake again, and you could protect and stall a Trick Room, and then Snorlax would be in a kind of difficult position. That's the reason why recycling in this turn was so important, and now having back again full health and not being shredded by any knockoff, so Muk is trying to get the double protect and get the double protect, saving Javier some time right now, and seeing the return from Snorlax into the protect. Unfortunately, but seeing a Trick Room up.
Oh, hello. A Trick Room up, reversing that Trick Room, but with the Mimikyu switching back in again, you can pretty much guess it's going to come back. Like, I don't think whatever the Porygon 2 and the Muk throw at this Snorlax, I don't think it's going to go down.
No, it's too difficult because maybe the only reason Javier should go now, because Mimikyu is a threat, he can pick up easily the Trick Room again, and if Muk has any chance to get the KO on Mimikyu, there's no way Muk can stand Snorlax. But we've seen a knockoff, not the right choice because no Berry Man, but we're seeing the return into Porygon, no chance to stand this. And this, when we're seeing the Trick Room, this is it, yeah, and very good play by Rob in the end. The only way Javier could have a decent chance is like going from the Porygon to, if he's going to run Ice Beam, I'm pretty sure he's run Ice Beam, go for the freeze. This is kind of the only chance he had to win, but unfortunately didn't get it, or good he didn't get it because the freeze win is kind of awkward.
Yeah, unfortunately, this Muk can't protect. Well, it can protect a third time, but we just see a forfeit from Javier's end. Rob played that one actually brilliantly because in the first game, I think it was easy to tell what Rob's plan was. His plan was to, just disrupt a little bit with Arcanine and then make it faint and then get the Snorlax back out so they can belly drum in the Trick Room and become such a huge danger. I think Javier sort of analysed that correctly, did go for the right move in the Curse and the Tectonic Rage to, essentially allow that, but the Trick Room did go up and just the Trick Room was way too dangerous.
Yeah, Trick Room is way too dangerous because in the first turn we saw the early KO on Arcanine, and getting a turn 1 KO on Arcanine is always a really good feeling. But in this case it's not so important because even getting so much leading position, when the Trick Room is up and you have 2 intimidated Pokemon outside on the field, you aren't a threat for any Snorlax, so you make it too easy for Snorlax. So when you're facing against a Mimikyu, you should not KO the partner because you're just giving you make Snorlax 1 turn faster. And it's way difficult to stall out the Trick Room to bring up Muk, preventing Muk for any support. This is difficult for Javier if you're going to take such a lead to KO here.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't seen the Alolan Ninetales actually from Javier's end. So maybe, do you reckon Aurora Veil could play a part in this?
No, I don't think so. It's always losing time. So Javier don't have the time because you have no answer for Trick Room. So when you're pushing up your Aura Wheel, I don't think your Pokemon can either stand a +6 return from Snorlax if Aura Wheel or not. I don't think you can stand it. Maybe a Porygon 2. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't count it. So maybe Javier tries somehow to get the KO on the Mimikyu in the first turn, or maybe we are seeing just the Porygon 2 on Javier's side and doing the Trick Room games.
Yeah, maybe. Javier picking his Pokemon very, very quickly. I'm surprised Rob hasn't picked his Pokemon very quickly because his game plans for Game 1 and 2 were pretty much the same, and they were quite solid as well. But we are going to be jumping into this game. I wonder what Robertson, because he's taken quite a lot of time in Team Preview there. Obviously, as we know, Team Preview is super important. You've got to make sure you're bringing all the right Pokemon and making sure you don't leave any, important Pokemon behind. But we are going to be jumping into the game, and hopefully we'll be seeing their leads and see what they've done.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're seeing again the Arcanine Mimikyu lead. Maybe he'd had this lead before, but he just wasn't thinking about the match, taking every second to get a little bit of advantage just against him. But like I said, Javier's only chance to get rid of the Trick Room is playing the Trick Room game. So having on both sides one Trick Room setup, and on Javier's side he don't want to set up the Trick Room, he just want to counter the Trick Room with his own Trick Room. But like we see in the Jonathan Evan games against Albert, it's very difficult. So who player gets the right prediction?
Yeah, so we see the Arcanine switch out. It did get off that Intimidate, which is what he wanted to do. And we just see the Porygon 2 switch out in favour of that Tapu Lele. I think unless we see a Rock Slide flinch like we did turn 1, I think the Trick Room is just going to go up. And we do see the Rock Slide indeed. It does break the substitute, the disguise from the Mimikyu. And do we see the flinch? If we see a flinch here, this could be humongous. We see the flinch! We see the flinch turn 1. Javier Senorena might be able to pull this one back. Realistically, looking at this, the matchup is quite bad for Javier, but with that flinch, winning him game 1 essentially, it might be able to win him game 3 as well.
Yeah, but it was such a good play by Rob because just don't care about the Porygon 2 like the bluff. Just going up for the Trick Room and bringing up Snorlax because no time for... because you have to set up, you have to use every single move from Trick Room. So, but getting punished the right play by the flinch always hurts because we always thought like Rock Slide isn't in the game, but there's always where's the guard jump, there's a Rock Slide. So it hurts.
Yeah, that definitely does hurt. The time is running out for Rob there. Like he might want to set up the Trick Room again. Javier breathing out there. Is he wound up with that? I don't think he looks very happy with that. The Arcanine comes back in, yet another Intimidate, bringing that Garchomp down to half of its original attack stat. And we see the Psychic onto what is the Arcanine slot. It's going to take so much damage. That does loads. And we see the Tectonic Rage. I got a feeling that might have been good. That might be going into the Arcanine, and it might be a wasted Z move there. Javier does not look happy about that.
Yeah, looking at the face of Javier, it's definitely going into the Arcanine. So very great play by Rob here. Yeah, it's going into Arcanine. So yeah,
bye-bye.
Mimikyu was... it was so obvious that you really want the Trick Room. So Javier was concentrated too much on the Trick Room, too much on the Mimikyu. So easy, just bring up, switch out into the Arcanine, lowering the Garchomp. So Garchomp is not a threat anymore. And now getting a Snorlax with +6 and nearly 100% of their health. So very good position for Rob right now, but it still has the option of Trick Room. Maybe not in this tournament, but still have the option.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Mimikyu could be coming back out again. The Psychic will do a lot of damage, and whatever... Maybe not quite enough to pick up the KO, but whatever the Garchomp throws, if we see a double target, but we don't see the double target, we actually see a Tapu Fini switch in, setting up that Misty Surge and taking away that Psychic terrain, removing the boost from the Tapu Lele. So Snorlax is going to be sitting very, very pretty here. It can just pick and choose its KOs.
Yeah, easily, and I'm pretty sure he's going to take the. No, no. Snorlax is recycling.
Yeah,
he's definitely recycling because Garchomp isn't a threat. Tapu Lele is kinda a threat. So we're just seeing this, and Javier's playing the Rock Slide game, so Rob is really under pressure right now because he can't allow any flinch, but unfortunately good for him. Seeing a Tapu Fini in the muddy water, dealing a good amount of damage on both Pokemon.
Accuracy drops? No accuracy drops, and the Recycle is going to re-give him that Figgy Berry. No flinches there. Javier, I think, relying maybe a little bit too much on that flinch game right there. But yeah, Snorlax can pick and choose a KO. He's got the Figgy Berry back, so doesn't have quite as much health as it wants to have. But it will probably proc its own Figgy Berry later on. The Tapu Fini was such a good switch there, and Muddy, with a Muddy Water and a return onto either slot, really, it's just a safe play for Rob. And I think Rob can actually just take this game from here.
Yeah, and he definitely have to recycle again on Snorlax because keeping always the Snorlax healthy. When there's no crits, there's no chance Snorlax can go down for this. But seeing the Protect, very glad for Rob because no Rock Slide, no flinch action, and seeing again Psychic into Tapu Fini right now. Okay, this is interesting.
Into Tapu Fini just to do a little bit of damage because I don't think he wanted to proc the Figgy Berry because if we see a recycle on the Snorlax, like you guessed right there, it won't work, especially if it wasn't targeted. So Tapu Lele does go down, and since Garchomp did protect, Snorlax is going to return into it, and so no harm done that turn.
Yeah,
you know what could have happened actually? If the Garchomp didn't protect there, he could have returned into the Rough Skin and procced its own, procced the Figgy Berry again. So actually, that's quite a good protect from Javier, I would say.
Yeah, it would definitely, yeah. But is Mug able to get the KO? No. Wait.
Let's think about this one.
yeah. We got always the rock slide isn't surely enough to get to pop up the berry, and maybe I'm not sure how much attack is invested in the Mug, but maybe the knockoff is enough. But no, we're not seeing the rock slide. We're seeing a switch out from Akershoek into a Porygon too.
Yeah, just into the Porygon 2 to reset those intimidates. The attack does rise on the Porygon 2, so showing a lot of special bulk on both of these Pokemon. And the Muddy Water does connect with both of these Pokemon, reducing the accuracy on Porygon 2. That could be big down the line. And they knock off onto Snorlax, knocks off that Viggy Berry. That's a lot of damage. And return onto either target. What is it going to be? The Muck is going to go down. But with the Garchomp in the back, with potential, with its attack stat back from the switch out, it could do some damage. Maybe there's still an out for Javier here.
Garchomp is able to get the KO on Snorlax, probably with the if he's running Dragon Claw, but
no, it's Misty Terrain. Remember.
You're right. Oh, this is kind of the first time ever that Misty Terrain deals with the Dragon type attacks, but seeing the Earthquake right now, and the Earthquake shouldn't. It is enough. Oh my God, it is enough. It gets a KO on the Snorlax, and Tapu Fini now alone here, getting the Muddy Water. Probably on both Pokemon?
Yeah, it's going to hits both Pokemon. Porygon does take it. Garchomp takes it. Is that a crit on the Garchomp?
No, it's not a crit.
Oh, wow.
It's just a high roll.
That's a very high roll. And Porygon 2 does go for a recover. We just have the Mimikyu and the Tapu Fini in the back for Rob. This might be a very slow end game. If this, especially if this Porygon 2 has carries the Toxic or something. Javier doesn't look very happy. I think Rob looks very determined there, concentrating very hard on his game. I think he has an exact plan for how to deal with this Porygon 2 with only the Tapu Fini and the Mimikyu in the back. What can we see from this Porygon 2 in terms of damage? Return would be really nice right here, but with the Muddy Water, we've already seen an accuracy drop. Could we see a second one? A second one could be very important, and we do see a second accuracy drop, and a Play Rough from the Mimikyu. Does have something for that Porygon 2 right there, and we see the Ice Beam onto the Tapu Fini. It does avoid. No luck for Javier there. I think Javier has played that well. I think the matchup is a little bit tricky, and he has played to his outs very well, but I don't think his outs can save him at this point.
But why does we saw an Ice Beam? Maybe he's running the Trick Room and Toxic set, so he's just running one single attack. So even though if he would hit up the Tapu Fini, it wouldn't be enough because Ice Beam couldn't even freeze because of the terrain. And now we're seeing Rob taking the win, even after one very unlucky first match.
Yeah, a lot of luck involved there. I think, you know, like Rob had the matchup, but I can't stress enough how well he dealt with the RNG not going in his favor. Stuff wasn't going in his favor, and he wanted to, and he persevered. He still stuck to his strategy of relying on the Snorlax. The Snorlax unfortunately caused a lot of problems for Javier, and you can't blame him for going for his out. So I think it's actually a very well played game by both people. Rob had the matchup. He did win. He did win it quite soundly, actually. But they both played to their tactics and their outs, and you can't fault either player for that. But there was only one clear win in the end.
Absolutely. And even if Rob had the matchup, Javier always find a way how he can deal with it. Because in the second game, he had the bluff with the Trick Room to Trick Room up the Trick Room. But switching it out, bringing another Pokemon in, and just keeping up the offensive pressure. Because you don't want to have Trick Room, and even Rob he doesn't even need the Trick Room. He just played on his end, settle up the belly drum, and always recycle the berry. And this is always why Snorlax is so good. And when you bring up Snorlax in such this good position, it's a huge threat for every team.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, he played that well. The Snorlax was super threatening there. Outside of Trick Room, very threatening. Inside of Trick Room would have been even more threatening. So the fact that we didn't see a Trick Room turn one, if we saw a Trick Room turn one, it would have been over a lot quicker. But, you know, the Rock Slide, it was there. It did what it needed to do. But, yeah, and that's how the game went. But we are going to be jumping into an interview with the winner of that match, Rob Akershoek from Holland. So once we get back from the break, we'll see you guys then. How about them apples? Welcome back, guys, to the Pokemon VGC Sheffield Regional Championships. My name is Matt Dorrell, and I am joined by the winner of that last round, Rob Akershoek. from Holland. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, really well. It's going great for me so far, so yeah.
Yeah, so you are 6-0 right now.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've ever been on stream or never any tournament ever?
No, yeah, well, I've been on small streams, but no official streams yet. So, yeah, debut.
So right now you're repping Holland. So you've won a lot of tournaments in Holland right now. Which tournaments have you won?
Yeah, so I've won a Dutch Open, the first tournament I went to actually, and an MSS as well, and
Was
a
that
PC.
your first ever tournament?
Yeah, that was my first ever tournament. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually nuts.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, so you won a mid-season showdown as well,
Right.
didn't you?
Yeah.
So you won a mid-season showdown and a Dutch Open on your very first season.
Right. Yeah. I haven't lost any Dutch events so far. Yeah. So it's going great.
We've got Holland's _1 here. So a friend of both of ours, Andres Escobar, who used to be Holland's #1. How's he feeling about you right now? Is he happy? Unhappy?
Ooh, I don't know. He introduced me to the scene, but after I've beat him like in so many finals now, I don't know how happy he is anymore.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that was your first ever event.
Yeah, it was.
That's incredible. I mean, like, I was looking at your team, and my first reaction to seeing your team was, what?
Yeah.
And then the more I looked at it, the more I realised this is a beautiful team. You got the classic Tapu Fini, Kartani, the Arcanine.
Yeah.
Then you have the recently extremely popular Snorlax and Mimikyu. And then Persian to round that thing off.
Yeah.
So just so you can be flexible with the parting shots.
Right.
So is that pretty much what you went? We went for 2 really high cores and then put one last thing in this, or?
Yeah, it was like my main core is obviously going Mimikyu, Snorlax, setting up the Trick Room, getting off the belly drums, and just sweeping. But Persian is there for the non-Trick Room mode, where my opponent has like slower Mons or opposing Snorlax, and Fake Out support plus belly drum it's so threatening. Plus parting shot, it's a great Mon. But yeah. I don't know why no one else is using it yet.
But yeah, you've been playing. You played that game absolutely excellently. You correctly identified throughout all 3 games that you wanted to set up the Trick Room for the Snorlax and the belly drum there. But Javier, he realised one of his win conditions was maybe to get some flinches on the Mimikyu to make sure that Trick Room doesn't go up. So how are you feeling at that point in time? Were you getting nervous?
I was getting really nervous because Mimikyu is super frail, and like the one thing it has is its ability. It's sort of its substitute. And when that's gone, it can be killed by almost anything. So yeah, I was super scared when I saw that flinch, and I mean that was basically the end of game 1. So I couldn't come back from that. Yeah.
I mean it was almost the end of game 2, game 3 as well. So
yeah, true.
So were you panicking, or do you think what, I still got this? I
was panicking like extremely. I was freaking out inside, but in the end, I think I made like the one call where he Z-moved into my switch-in, into my Arcanine, which my Arcanine was basically there for Intimidate support. I think it didn't do anything in all 3 games. It just kept on getting Z-moves.
Well, the Intimidates were huge, especially.
Yeah.
In fact, in all 3 games, those Intimidates were very, very big.
Yeah, I really needed it.
And it gave you free switches, which is, sometimes you do have to make a sacrificial play to get a free switch so that you don't take any damage on the switch. But yeah, you played that really, really well. I must say, like, I was impressed by that. Javier played to his outs. You can't blame him for going for his outs.
Yeah.
And the matchup was quite badly in your favour as well. But yeah, excellent playing. You kept your cool. Things weren't going right for you, and yeah, congratulations. You're 6-0 now.
6-0, yeah.
Only two more games to go, and I think you're almost top cut guaranteed. Or do you still want to win at least one more game just to sort of seal it?
Of course, that would be nice. I mean, then I know for sure. But yeah, I think I'm pretty safe right now. So that's good. It's always a good feeling.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to see more of Rob in the coming rounds. Well, not in the coming rounds, but in the top cut. But yeah, that is Rob Akershoek from Holland, making a huge splash as a new player in the VGC community. Guys, if you can also attend a VGC event and also become huge members of the community just by going to your first event and winning it all. You can try that as well. The community is really lovely. But in the meantime, we're going to be jumping into a break, and when we're back, we will have hopefully round 7 of this Sheffield Regional Championship. So, see you guys then.